Yes, sir. It's a certified playmaker, Dre Hendricks, and your Fight to Unite champion. Sitting here with CP podcasting.
What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? Welcome to a live taping of Beyond the Bell. I am Chris Page. It is a mid-afternoon at this point on a Sunday morning right here in sunny Florida. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend. And for those joining us live in chat, it should be a fantastic show to cap off, well, as we cap off, a loaded weekend of nothing but streams. It has been a fantastic run. This show today should not be any different. We are headed back to the Lone Star State. We sat down with a gentleman a couple of weeks ago from Texas, and Texas now seems to be on the radar. I cannot wait to sit down and dive deep with my guest today. We've had a fantastic little chat before we come on the air. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's get right into it and welcome the man, Mr. Chris Chaos. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm living the dream, dude. I'm doing the best I can with what I got, and I hope what I got is okay. That's about all I can do.
Okay in my books.
What's going on with you, man? You have a good weekend?
Yeah, I've been having a busy weekend so far. So Friday, Lions Pride Sports, we had an event going on. Me and Trent Mercer versus Rodzilla and Johnny Lyons from Row. That was a pretty good match. Of course, Obsidian went over, the bad guys.
Uh-huh.
But Saturday, I had some time to myself. Had some time with my girlfriend's moms. Like a little cool down period. I had no bookings yesterday. But today, I'm just here in the moment.
Man,
ready to get to it.
I'm glad to have you on board. I'm glad to have you on the show. You're getting some shout outs from UK Pauls overseas, Goth overseas in the Netherlands, obviously Paul overseas in the UK. Welcome to the show, man. This should be a fantastic ride and a lovely little conversation that we're going to have today. I totally like having new guys coming in, new girls coming in, because the independent scene is so vast, and we cover a lot of ground. We cover a lot, so there's little hidden gems, as I like to call them, everywhere, and we get to the meat and potatoes of it within our conversations here. And I always like to start at the top. And with you, where does professional wrestling, intersect with your life? What were some of the things that you were watching? Who did you resonate with when you were coming up?
Where do I even start? So, my family has been a wrestling family. Now, I'm the first person to be in a business itself, but my family has always watched wrestling. And it started with my very first moment. The first person I ever sit down and can remember watching was R-Truth. You see by the hair, some similarities. But R-Truth versus John Morrison. What was that? A Friday Night SmackDown?
Okay.
Back in 2009, man. And ever since then, I've just been hooked on it.
So, man, yeah, you're gonna fucking ruin your. I'm telling my age. One of my first memories of R-Truth is not with WWE. It was with TNA.
Pretty far.
It's with the NWA. When the NWA was before it was NWA. That's NWA TNA when he won the world title and he beat Ken Shamrock. I went, yes, fucking right, let's go. And then it gets to the WWE, and he, don't get me wrong, R-Truth, I love you, brother. You're a follower of our platform. You've given us nothing but love. When they got to the WWE and there was a lot of comedy stuff, this is the epitome of a guy who legitimately took chicken salad out of chicken shit. That's where I was trying to go with that. And made a massive following even to now. The R-Truth that you see now is the R-Truth that I saw it back in the NWA. The no fucks given. I'm not here to make you laugh. I'm here to make a statement. I think that's kind of cool to see that that's where your journey starts, man. And what about R-Truth drew you in?
So R-Truth, well, I mean, just from a naked eye, me not knowing what wrestling was back in the day, but just watching it was R-Truth's athleticism. It was insane. He does the little scissor kick with the spin at the end, and I'm looking me sitting down on the ground going, how in the world does he do that? Because, back in the day, there weren't many very high flyers or anything. It was a bunch of big brawly men, just a bunch of heavy lifters and a lot of good storytellers. But there weren't many high flyers and stuff. People like John Morrison and R-Truth. So that just hooked me in, man.
I mean, I can dig it. I appreciate that. That's a massive throwback. Again, when I ask that question, is because when you give me your memory, it makes me think about mine. And when we have
Yeah.
guys that come in and some guys go back to the early '80s, and that's my heyday. We just, it's like a reminiscing factor. Like your memory plus my memory gives us this moment here. I think it's great to have. And when you're in the Texas market, man, and independent wrestling, and I consider Texas like the top three in the United States
Fire.
as far as markets in general, like California, Texas, Florida. Those are the ones specifically. Georgia is also not too far behind it. What's the scene looking like down there? I mean, I know it's blowing up everywhere, but over your progression and what you've seen so far, what's the market on from your perspective? What's that looking like?
So I'm based out of Bryan College Station, which is like the perfect grounds because you're in between all the major cities: Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Austin. Some would consider Waco a major platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot, man. It is on fire, and there's like this is really in this type a little time frame where the old are kind of going up and the new are getting pushed up as well. So it's a whole lot of competition, and there's not a lot of negative competition. There's a lot of good, healthy competition, but there's a lot of talent going around right now, and now you have to push yourself 10 times harder than somebody may have been able to push themselves 10 years ago just to try to get seen and get noticed here in Texas.
What's it like I mean, you're in the thick of it. How are you trying to separate yourself from the pack? I mean, again, you sound like you're in a very good spot. Like you're in the hub, if you will, of to get to where you need to get to. So what's it like for you to have to try and separate yourself, and how do you go about doing that?
It's just investing in your character, man. I like this. I like to say, in a wrestling locker room, I promise you, 10 out of 10 wrestlers know how to wrestle. It's in the name. But here's the thing: it comes down to the character. It comes down to the look. It comes down to the physique. Here at Lions Pride, we're pushed to look our best, not just gear wise, but physical. Get some muscles, lean out a little bit. So on that's the journey I'm on right now, to where it's like I'm working out 5 days out of the 7 days of the week, just trying to get my body right. And currently I'm saving up to get some gear down. So basically what I'm trying to say is, as much as I love the wrestling, as much as I train 4 days out of the week, 2 hours every day, you have to invest in the character. You have to invest in the look.
When do you start really taking into consideration that this is something that you want to try and get into? And what does that process look like for you as you are trying to break into the scene, whether getting into training, et cetera, et cetera?
So that goes back a couple of years ago. My roommate and my tag team partner, Trent Mercer, who I'm sure you know of,
Yeah, man,
actually
he's on the
texted
show.
me.
He's on the show, I think, in a week or so, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, he's not far behind me. And I've always wanted to get into wrestling, and I knew we had a wrestling school here in town, but it's always come down to like, do I want to pull that trigger? Do I really want to put my body on the line, risk my livelihood for a dream that, let's be honest, not very many people make it to the big leagues. What is it, like a 2 or 3% chance for men?
It's a small margin for sure.
It's a small margin.
You usually get into wrestling because you fucking love it, because that's
exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Exactly. No, you're fine. Exactly. But it comes down to me just wanting to work my ass off, because I've always been a hard worker. Like, you tell me I can't get something, and guess what? I'm going to get it. And I have that mindset to where it's like, as of right now, people may look at me and go, "It's Chris Chaos. He's just like in a patch." But like, give me a year, I promise you, gonna be making some big difference, some big strides. And it's like, I'm in love. So going back, I digress. So Trent got me into wrestling by texting me, "Hey man, do you really want to get into this wrestling stuff?" So I told him I've been interested, and he was like, "If you really want to do it, let's go, bro. It's now or never." And I was like, "You know what, bro? I can put some money down. I can put some money down in a down payment. Let's do it. Let's get with Lions Pride." And just ever since then, he's been taking me on the roads. He's been doing this thing, trying to make sure I keep it level-headed, stay on the right path. And ever since then, it's just been no looking back.
Well, what year was that for you when you jumped into Lions Pride?
2023.
Okay, so you're just a couple years deep.
Yeah, I'm only 2 years into training, man.
Yeah, I like how you put that. I'm only 2 years into training. Most people say I'm only 2 years into the game. No, it's because and that's the thing
Mm,
too. Like with my mentality was that you could not learn enough, and just because I finished training in one spot didn't mean that I wasn't going somewhere else, and I wasn't going to try and learn elsewhere. Of course, times are different from '99 to now. Don't get me wrong. But to see that that's the mentality that you have, that's fantastic. So when you decide now alongside Trent that we're in this, we're going. Um, Everybody has some things that they caught on quickly with when they're getting into training. They also had some stuff that they were difficult to catch on with. So when it comes to you, what was something that you picked up pretty quickly, but then what was something else that maybe you didn't get so quickly, and how did you work through it to get it?
so something that I picked up very easily was, I guess, just the wrestling portion of it. I come from an athletic background
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you spend every year, every summer, no matter what you're doing, whether it's track, or football, or basketball, somebody is telling you what you need to do and how you need to do it. And it's up to you to grasp that pretty fast, or else you will be passed up. So I've come in with the mentality of like, oh, this wrestling stuff, man, I had to take it seriously. So like things like taking a bump, which takes a couple of people, some people to a couple of weeks to get down. I'm like, first day in, I'm like, hey man, I signed a contract. I'm gonna get in the ring. Come hit me. Come hit the ropes and hit me. And I took my first bump my first day, and I mean, this is to thoughts of others. They said it was pretty good, and like drop downs, leapfrogs, jumping off the top rope, stuff like that, like the fun aspect of wrestling. I just seem to get down like easy, like white on rice. It's like it comes naturally to me.
Mm-hmm.
But hand me a mic.
Yeah.
Hand me a mic. It's gotten a lot better. Don't get me wrong. Like I can cut me a decent 2 minute promo and not shit the bed. But just as recently as like 5 months ago, you handed me a mic and I'll get there and I'll start stuttering, shaking, pacing side to side. Let me restart. Let me restart. And they're like, no, pal, that's not how it works in the show. That's not how we're gonna do it here. So
See,
yeah, definitely, yeah.
I was opposite, man. Like, well, when I say opposite, footwork was difficult for me to master, but I got it down. I got it down. It just took a little bit of extra time. But you gave me a microphone, brother. That was a different story. I was the guy you wanted to hate, and I had no problems in it. I had no problems in being the bad guy. No problems in, I was a guy that kept. Hey, we had somebody on last week, and I was we were talking a little bit about it, and they were like, how do you stay in character when you're out of the ring? He's a bad guy, he's a heel. And he's like, it just
Yeah.
depends on, the situation. And I said, no, sir, it never depended on me. I had like a 9-year-old come up to me and recognized me and wanted an autograph. And I told him to go tell his mama to pay a ticket and see me in 2 weeks when I'm beating the crap out of his dad's best friend. It's at a gas station. It's just shit like that. Was great. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining and developing and honing in. And it's hard to believe because just in the few minutes of our conversation here, like you're very relaxed. You're well spoken. So I feel like maybe it's just not a matter if, it's a matter of when you just get that 100% confidence, because I think that's what all that boils down to. Is how confident are you to come out there and be the cock of the walk. And I think with me, and this is only a little piece of advice I ever give people, is just I was always my authentic self with my character. I didn't try it, because I always say people can see through fake. So I didn't try to be something that I knew I wasn't. And I did try, and I failed miserably with my first character. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I worked it for a year before somebody said, that is awful. And I looked at my buddies and I was like, what took you so long to tell me? Nobody else wanted to tell me this was terrible. I thought it was the coolest shit ever. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
What do you think for you though? Like, if you think you struggle a little bit with the promo side, like how are you working through that? Because that's something that you can always just look at a mirror or everybody cuts the car promo. Is that something that you do to try and nail that piece of the game down a little bit?
Oh yeah, it always comes down to cutting the car promo, like having people look at you sideways at a traffic light because it looks like you're having an argument with Casper, stuff like that. But what I really like to base it on is Houston Carson and what we do at the Den. I'm not sponsored by Lions Pride or anything like that, but what we do is at least once a week, sometimes multiple times a week, somebody like a locker room leader gives you a prompt, right?
Mhm.
Like, hey, this person said something about your mother. Take it out to them. Give them everything that you have. Keep it PG in the middle of the ring. And you're supposed to cut that promo. No stutters, no takesy backsies, no restarting. All in the middle of the ring. And they'll give you a limit, like 2 minutes. And we like to do this little special thing, which I don't think is the hardest thing ever, but it's definitely something that keeps you wanting to keep that down to the T and to the time that you're given. It's like every 10 seconds that you go over, or every second that you go over, that's 5 squats. So if you go 10 seconds over, that's 50 squats. And you have like a little 20-second interval. So it's also 10 seconds under to where there may be somebody in the background going, keep going, keep going, keep going, because we're all green. We don't all have that little time clock in our head where we can go, okay, it's been 10 minutes, let me cut it. We'll have somebody helping you out, like, okay, cut it. And then you have to try to tie it all in within like those last 10 seconds or really 20 seconds to make it make sense.
Well, actually,
So it really just comes down to a lot of training. There's a lot of putting work in.
I like that aspect of it. Well, I've seen training facilities from all over the world, from Australia to the UK to here in the States. And it seems like some of the best training facilities kind of, I'm not going to say have the similar curriculum, but they kind of run things very similarly, where it's not just about getting in and training in the ring. That is obviously a big piece of it, but they're also training different people. They're training you in different aspects of the game. An example, there's a facility here in Florida that's, not only you training in the ring, they're training you to run the cameras. They're training you on commentary. They're putting you as ring announcers. They're putting you as security personnel. They're every aspect of the game that you could possibly think of. There is a piece of their curriculum that goes through that. I wish that was a thing back in my day. My day was more of a sink or swim, essentially. The people were just really, don't get me wrong, it was a cutthroat business, and it still kind of is to a degree. But there's a lot more opportunity out there to succeed because of how things have changed. So I say all that because I want to talk a little bit about Lions Den and a little bit about what you got going on there and what they have going on there. So as a student there, from your perspective, when you walk in the front door and you're doing this, what was your initial perception? And tell me a little bit about the school and what they have to offer.
All right. So my initial perception was not after I walked in, but of course before, I was extremely nervous, extremely scared. All these big crazy superstars are gonna look down on me because I'm new. I don't think I can hang, this and that and the other. And as you walk through the door, I remember, which she's a pretty well-known name around Texas, Mia Friday came up to me and was like, hey dude, what's your name? And I'm like, I'm Chris. He's like, it's nice to meet you. Are you, this your first day, right? Just like small talk to try to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. And as you got deeper into the den, which back in the day we had 2 rings, there's people in each ring. They'll stop what they're doing, shake your hand, introduce themselves, and just really make you feel like you're a part of the family from literally the moment you step into the door. And that's something that we really like to carry on to a more present day status. And the den, our current den, is just a little bit smaller. It's like more like a dojo feel where it's just a ring, and then there's some area down or like there's a little mat where you can work on like footwork and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I happen to do all the bumping aspects, but it's the same thing. The den is supposed to make you feel like you are a part of a family. And not only is it a family, it's a family that's going to be hard on you. It's a family that's not going to let you just slip by, oh, you didn't do that, right? Don't worry, we'll get it next time. It's, no, pause, let's step out there, and let's get one of these leaders with you until you get it down. Because we don't like the whole mindset of, oh, you can't do that, skip by it, you'll come back to it later, because then you'll never come back to it. That's just how it is. You'll be like, I don't want to do that, I'm not comfortable with it. It's, no, we're not gonna do it that way. So we're hard on each other, but at the same time, it's a very, very, very loving atmosphere where it feels like you have a whole bunch of brothers, sisters, and coach as like the father figure. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As normal as I could try to make that sound, but it's not like a cult or anything. But well, yeah, that's just how it is.
Who's doing the training out there?
So it's primarily Houston Carson.
Okay.
Unless, of course, he's not going to be able to be there for any reason. Then it comes down to guys like Trent, who's been training for 4 years, Axe Manson, who's been training for, I think 2.5. I think going to 3. Don't quote me on that. Same thing for Dre. They came at the same time, and then there's
Yeah.
me, who's the greenest locker room leader. But it's just guys who have known the basics and got the basics down that can really help you. Because if coach isn't there, we're not gonna like learn 450 splashes or like nothing like that because we don't want to get anybody hurt. But when he just a lot of basics that we can help with the new students, like things like facial features, like footwork, how not to have happy feet, because happy feet is a huge no at the den. We don't like that because it makes you look really unprofessional. But happy feet and how to do takeovers, stuff. It's like simple stuff, but we like to perfect that so that way, once it comes time for you to add on to it, you can be like, "Oh, let me season it and spice it up like this," and not have to worry much about how to get into the move itself. You know?
No, I do. It's it's the epitome. So wrestling is, and I say this all the time, wrestling is the biggest team sport. It's also
Oh, most definitely, it's a dance.
oh yeah, it's an individual sport, but it is definitely a team sport. When you get the right kind of guys and the like-minded mentalities, look out, man, because that's the secret sauce to success. Is what that is when you handle things and you go things the right way. I really like what you just said a second ago, that if somebody doesn't get something, it's not no, let's move on, or better luck next time. It's hold on, back up. Let's put somebody here with you. Let's go through this again. Let's make sure that you get this, and then we'll move forward collectively. I like that. I think that is fantastic to hear.
Yeah, we really emphasize on that. There is no skipping and try again next time. It's let's get this down.
Well, where does Chris Chaos come into play as you're, going through getting trained and learning through the lines? Then you said something earlier about characters, everything. Where do you start contriving your character, and what does that look like to you?
Ooh, that's a long drawn out story, but I'll try to keep it short and simple. So
You
going
can take
into
as much
wrestling,
time as you need, my man.
we got about 3 more hours, right?
It's the positive side about running your own channel. You determine when you go off the air.
That's true. So I've came into wrestling with the whole mindset of, ooh, I'm gonna be athletic. I'm gonna do the coolest moves, man. I'm gonna do a 450, hit that every single time, and be known as a 450 splash man, like all the cool guys you see on TV. But here's the thing: it's like that's the like moves itself doesn't make the character, and they preached that to me. Don't get me wrong, they preached that to me since day one. But it took my immature brain at the time, because I think I was like 19, 18 going to 19. Really just wanted to do cool moves. It took me such a long time to understand, hey man, your moves and sure, your moves and your package is extremely important, but we need to figure out what we're gonna do behind the moves. What makes you you? And people always told me like it's you cranked up to 1,000%, right? Me cranked up to 1,000% was to do kick flips, jump out the ring, 450 splashes. But they're like, no. What's your personality? Turn up to 1,000. And I'm not sure if I'm like showing it here, but I'm a outgoing, well-spoken, fun, let's make jokes type of guy. So, and I usually there's some things that I'll do, and it's like, why did he do that? Not like in a he's crazy type of way, but like that's a different type of way to do it. You know what I mean? So I was trying to think of a moniker, like a name, and at the time I had Hostage Hirsch with me, and Trent Mercer was still always with me. We were called Onslaught, but Hostage Hirsch and Trent, they put their minds together and they're like, okay, you seem really chaotic in the ring, like kind of like a Dean Ambrose, but more methodical, kind of like a Joker, where it's like you like inflicting pain, and whether that pain is a normal punch to the face or throwing somebody in a ball of acid, it's like either way, it's pain, and you find it enjoyable. And sometimes you'll take something and you're like, okay, is that it? You know what I mean? So we tried to put our heads together and we came up with Chaos. And I was like, I'm not very creative when it comes to names. So I'm like, okay, how about we just use my first name? Chris Chaos CC. And I feel like, I feel like it rolls off the tongue pretty nice. And we just stuck with it. And now the whole character now is more shifting into like a jester, with like because jesters are dressed all like outgoing, outlandish. They look so different. That's the goal, is when I come out through those curtains, I want people to be like, holy, did you see this guy? Look at what is that, a jester? Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, so that ties right back down to being unorthodox and not knowing what you're going to get until you see it. And even then, still not understanding fully what you're going to get. But that's where the whole chaos moniker comes into it. And now I'm adding the jester into the play to make it just a little bit more like what, like a little like twist the pretzel just a little bit more and pull the knot tight. But yeah, no, Chris Chaos really is just as a character as a whole is just unorthodox, likes inflicting pain, just like any other wrestler, but also can take some pain and be a little crazy with it. Not too crazy, but like a little dip of crazy, like sticking your big toe into the water and
Oh,
feeling the temperature. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
No, I get it. Go
there's
ahead.
definitely some aspects in there that's just me as a whole.
So you say something, and it like it has nothing to do with wrestling, but if you're bringing up the Joker and you're bringing up having that kind of vibe to the character that you're crafting, I you a comic book guy at all?
Not big on comic books, more of an anime and movie type of guy,
Okay.
but I do like comic book characters. Like I have pop figures. I'm sure you can see some right here, but I have pop figures all over my desk.
Well, what variation of the Joker would you say encompasses the jester side?
Mm,
If you had to relate
mm,
it to a movie or a role, like an actor or
mm.
whatever, like what variation of the Joker? And there's so many.
Man,
I
I
know.
hate that I'm going to tell you this, but it's literally a mix of all of them put into one. I know that sounds so biased, and you're like, man, that's not what I'm asking, but that's
Boo.
how I look. I know, but that's how I look at it. It's literally all the Jokers put into
Well,
one, and,
I
and
I have such a hot take for you. Are you ready for this?
let me hear it.
This may I, comic book fans and movie fans are gonna fucking despise me. A
Let me
lot of
hear it.
people lean towards Heath Ledger as like the best Joker, right?
See, that's
The
what I
best
didn't want to say
variation.
that. I didn't want to say that because that's what
I
everybody thinks of me.
I don't. I think Jack Nicholson had the best Joker from the original
Really,
Batman film. Yes, sir. I
really.
sure did. I think that Heath Ledger, his Joker version was fantastic. Do not get me
Yeah,
wrong.
it was
It's
really
not a
good.
knock. It's not anything. He played the fuck out of that goddamn role. But for me, and I think it has a lot to do with where that original film comes into my life at that point in time when, because I was a kid, I was like eight,
Yeah.
9 years old at that point, versus maybe if I came up in the era of the Dark Knight and that era of the
Mm,
Joker, that may have been my fault too. But yeah, I go back to Nicholson, man. I think that he played the fuck out of that role, and it was
yeah,
just
he did.
so different, and it was a different time and a different place. I just had to ask that question because if
You
you would
know,
have said Heath Ledger, I was just going to hit you with Jack Nicholson, but you didn't,
I
and
was
so I
I
had
was
to.
I was trying not to because everybody, to be honest, that's still like my top two. Like, and he's not number two. Heath Ledger. That's it. I feel like that just ties back into like the different eras. Like my grandma would tell me, oh, the best Batmans were the old live action Batmans from what was it, the
60s, 50s,
60s, yeah,
yeah.
while ago. And I look at that and I just go, I just don't find this entertaining. And then that's not me saying that it's bad. I honestly, I don't know if it's that I can't relate to it. Maybe it's
It's
because I
whatever
didn't grow
resonates
up
with
in that
you.
time. Exactly. And I feel like what guys around my age, like the 21 to 25 ish area, it's just Heath Ledger. It's just what we grew up with.
Yeah, dude, I got you
So I
about
feel like that's just.
two
Hmm?
decades. Two
Oh,
decades. So I get
that's
there's
that's
this
just experience. You're more wise than me. That's the way I look at it.
wise I am. Yes. Independent wrestling guru.
But
Let me,
yeah, I'll tell you a little secret though about the character. Like,
yeah, man, I'm here for
really,
it.
the Jester role that didn't really come out based off of anything like mentality wise. That was just based straight off of aesthetics, and I like Harley Quinn too. So,
Oh,
dude, I
dude.
have like two Harley Quinn
Yes.
posters in here and a pop figure,
Yes.
two hard pop figures. It's
I
insane.
I think that I don't know if I'm one of the few on my channel as far as co-hosts are concerned, but this is so. And I'm sorry, guys. This is what happens when you have an organic conversation. We're gonna get back to wrestling, I promise. But we're talking about fucking the Joker
We're
and
talking about
Harley Quinn.
wrestling. No, I'm
We'll
joking.
get there. I promise we'll get there at some point. I think Harley Quinn's probably like one of the most underrated film villains of all time. I
Oh, most
enjoyed
definitely.
her fucking role. Who I keep forgetting who played it in Suicide Squad. That was where I got the
I can't
first.
remember her name,
I
but
can't either,
yeah,
and people you can fucking hate me later. At least I'm giving
wait for the comments to roll in.
yeah, I'm giving the character props. I thought she played the fuck out of that role, and I went, I'm very interested in this now, way more interested, and that's the only reason I watched Suicide Squad was because of Harley Quinn. There you go.
Yeah. That's because like before Suicide Squad, let's be honest, Harley Quinn was just like Joker's little sidekick. And in Suicide Squad and in Birds of Prey, they like drawn her out to be her own villain. It's of course she still has the I want my pudding and stuff like that, but it's not everything so I need pudding. It's like, hey, I have a story too. Look at it. Back in the day, you had to search things up and like really dig down deep into the lore to figure out who Harley Quinn really was. Like Harley Quinn, I thought that was just Joker's girlfriend. Like I didn't know she had a name.
Yes, deep.
But yeah, no, that Suicide Squad really, both of them really opened up like to the public, the general public. Hey, this is Harley Quinn, and she's freaking dope.
It was her breakout. It was the breakout character moment.
Most definitely
for the comic verse. I don't know the DC
most definitely
universe. All right, we'll get back to wrestling now. I guess we can do that. Let me go to a question from the chat. We got one from Goth. Your preference: tag team wrestling, singles wrestling, or do you like multi-person matches? What's your preference?
Well, as of right now, due to just Obsidian in general, I do a lot of tag teams, so I'm gonna be a little biased. I prefer tag team wrestling. I prefer watching tag team wrestling because I feel like it's not appreciated just as much as it probably should be, especially on underneath the umbrella companies. People seem to forget about tag team wrestling. And hey, look at us, like we're also pretty cool and talented, and there's a whole other story aspect to it, but yeah, no, I prefer tag teams, to be honest with you.
You are a man after my own heart here, because anyone who follows our channel knows that I have the biggest love and appreciation for tag team wrestling, and I too think that sometimes it gets slept on. Sometimes on the independent scene, there are some companies out there who put emphasis on tag team wrestling, and I can really appreciate that. So knowing that you're a tag team wrestling guy, and I feel like I already know the answer to this question before I ask it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Who are some of your tag team influences? Some teams that you maybe film study on, or resonated with you from your younger years as watching wrestling through where you're at now in your career. Who are some of your
older? I'm not a big TNA guy, but I've loved watching them in TNA. Motor City Machine Guns, and now in WWE, of course, but. Motor City, oh my goodness. It's like those are just two guys, when you see them wrestle, you're just like, holy crap. It's a whole lot of how did they do that? And a whole lot of I wish I could do that. I'm gonna train to do that. You know what I mean? So, and DIY, as a more recent, I guess a recent answer is DIY, and it's a toss up right here. And I guess the Street Profits, they're pretty. I like watching them as well.
Okay.
Two really good tag teams with some very good like sleeper matches that like crazy matches that they get put on. It doesn't really get to the main. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's a good gauge for where you're at to where I'm at, man. I'm a Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express,
Hard
Foundation, any variation of the Horseman. Like that was my bread and butter growing up, dude.
Don't get me wrong, I study those guys. I like to study old gems because people forget about it. So
here's what I love about it, dude, is like back in that time frame, like wrestling was so much more simple. It was so much more. You didn't have to do a whole lot to get a crowd in the palm of your hands. It was more psychological and psychology based versus physicality and sometimes having to go really above and beyond to get a reaction. I was talking to Kid Kuda out of Florida not too long ago. We were talking about our love for the old school stuff, and I was like, man, you remember when a headlock used to fucking get a massive reaction?
Whoa!
And it's just like it's the easy transition spot at this point. Side headlock, takeover,
dude. Sometimes I forget. Like a headlock is not one of the things you don't even call it, bro. Just hit it. It's like we just hit the headlock.
Watch the head.
Pretty much.
Here it comes.
Like a headlock.
Yeah, it's on the way.
You know what I mean,
I have a huge admiration for tag team wrestling. So with that being said, what are where do you want to see your team headed to? Like if you guys are obviously like trying to. Does Lions Den have tag titles? Like I've not had a chance to really research the Fed yet. Had Dre on last week, and it was really the first time that I had spoken about Lions Den, and I did follow on social media, and I've done a little bit of looking. But what's the tag team scene look like there?
Well, the tag team scene, as based out of like based home guys, it's just me and Trent Mercer as of right now. But Coach tries to bring in a lot of outside tag teams, and there's been talks about titles, but it hasn't been set in stone. So
Right.
as of
Well,
right now, yeah, no, we really don't have any tag team titles.
so
But as we start to bring more teams outside, like from outside promotions and outside schools in, I'm sure there will be eventually titles to be earned.
So what it sounds like to me is you're telling me that Chris Chaos and Trent Mercer are the unofficial tag team champions, and there's no one here who can say otherwise.
Who told you that? I didn't say.
No, that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like we got tag champions. We're unofficially call them
But
the
like you said it, not me.
That's right. They can't come at me, bro. I mean, they can, but I don't know if it'll really help them out at all. Like I just will be me and say I'm sorry. Didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Just unofficial. That's why I said unofficial.
You can't forget about Devin DeVille either. That's our manager, and he's a damn good one at that.
Yeah, I think managing roles are also a role in the game that sometimes get a little overlooked. And now, I mean, outside of a handful, they're almost non-existent in the mainstream. You know, you got Heyman.
Very
and,
much so.
I mean, who else other than Heyman? Like, I truly don't know. I mean, if you consider Don Callis, then sure, but I
mean, yeah.
I think that's something that's missing nowadays too. So, what does your managing role look like? How does that guy get into the mix here, and what is his? How does he mesh with you and Mercer?
You know, I really like Devin DeVille because me and Mercer, especially Trent, I'm sure he can cut a damn good promo by himself. And I mean, I'm not going to say I'm the best promo guy, but if you give me a mic, I could probably talk for a little bit. But Devin DeVille, it's just something about him being a mouthpiece. He just comes out there and says a singular word or calls a town, like, you know, just the basic cheap heat, like, this town stinks. And the crowd sounds, it's like the most disgusting, toxic thing they have ever heard in their life. Devin DeVille, it's in the name, DeVille, Devil. He's a pretty good damn manager, and he's a good heel manager. He has the look that you just want to slap the mess out of him. Like, oh, this guy's want to slap those stupid glasses.
Slap shit out of him.
Sorry, I'm a PG guy. Slap the shades off his head and just piss on the shoes. You know what I mean? He's a devil, and he's a good mouthpiece and good third factor into like during the match. But he's a great factor in Obsidian, and he's something that I feel like if Obsidian didn't have as a heel faction, it just would not hit the same. He is, I love the key aspect.
I love how everybody has a role. You know, like I say all the time, everybody's role in wrestling is crucial. It doesn't matter if it's in ring, you know, running a camera, to commentating, to ringing out, refereeing, everybody's
really important.
Yup. Well, you can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
And have a solid product. Don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, you can easily run a show without filming it and not have production, but that's not going to be beneficial for anybody. Especially the talent, you gotta have, you know, get them guys their shit, get them the footage they need. Let them go out there and make a little bit of money off of it. My view.
That's just wrestling in the dark.
Not doing that. Let me say this, because you're a handful of years in, and you're still learning. You're still working as you're going.
Very much so.
You have the right mentality of having that mind to be a sponge and to learn whatever comes your way. Where are some companies that, you know, whether it be in Texas or whether it be outside of Texas, like where are some places that you want to see yourself growing into, or maybe some companies that you want to try and, you know, get some work in?
All right. Well, there's a company in Waco, or one of the two companies in Waco, named Heart of Texas, and I'm sure you've probably seen some work of theirs online. Well, especially with guys like Matt Locke, Kane Carter, Ben Parker, Brick. It's a very good staple guy there. That's a place where I've been wrestling, like just dipping my feet in, and I guess they've been testing me, and it's some place I really want to grow to become like eventually either one of the main tag teams or the main guy, depending on how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But So we have Heart of Texas, of course, Lions Pride. I'm still trying to fight to be a main staple here. Right now, I'm still the green hill that nobody likes. Like, boo, this guy sucks. He's green and he thinks he's more entitled than us. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
man.
got Lions Pride. Eventually, I think Rowe's going a little bit in her own direction, not in a bad way, but they have their WID program. They have a
Hmm.
whole lot of students coming in. Like, it's crazy the amount of students that they have coming in all at one point. But I would love to eventually get on the Rowe. Reality Wrestling,
Yep.
Booker T School.
Yep.
That's one of the places that even before I started wrestling, I was like, I really want to try to get there. Really want to wrestle there and get in front of that crowd. I feel
Well,
like it could be something that's either could be a really good test for me or really be something to help me grow as a wrestler.
or both, which is exactly
Both.
where you want to be.
Yes, sir.
And truthfully, like we have a lot of good friends over in Reality of Wrestling. Danny Limelight has been on our show several times. He's such a cool dude. Kirby Carrion, one of their commentators. We've had Emily Taylor's, one of the ring announcers. They're doing some really good work out there. But the beautiful
It,
thing about Texas is it is so big, and legitimately there are companies everywhere. And something you just touched on, yeah, the reality wrestling is now, it's an ID branded school, so it may be a little bit more difficult to get in there. And I think where your mentality sets you aside from other people is, while it may be a little difficult to get in there right now, doesn't mean that it's coming off the list. But it also doesn't mean that while I'm working towards that, I can't work towards this, and I can't work towards this, and I can't work towards this to get me a little
yeah.
bit closer to that. I really like that aspect about you, and the way that your mentality is to kind of grind this thing out to get you where you want to go.
Yeah,
Um,
as of right now, I'm trying to get anywhere and everywhere. I also want to throw New Texas out there. I don't know why I forgot about that. How rude of me. I have a lot of friends out there at New Texas and Houston, but that's another show I really want to try to get on. But yeah, as a whole, man, I'm just trying to get Chris Chaos out there, trying to get the face and staple it in every post in every major city, whether it's a big city, small city, or an immediate city, Bryan College Station. I don't care. I'm just really trying to get out there, put a name out there for myself.
yeah, and you know how you can do that, guys? You can go book chrischaos at gmail.com. That's exactly how you can do that. It's right there on the screen, has been the entire show. Or follow him on Instagram. It's _Chris_chaos. Um, Let me say this: like, you got, and I can see. I love New Texas Pro. They're friends of the channel as well, and we've had we've been able to build such great relationships with a lot of different people, and across the United States here and across the world, really. Do you have your eyes set on any kind of international travel, or if so, like, where are some places internationally you may want to test those waters?
See, that's one of my flaws. I've been so drawn focused into Texas. I have not been looking outside of Texas, and that's something that I need to change. But of
Mm-hmm.
course, we all have the big answer of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's just sitting in the back of everybody's mind who's even seen any type of New Japan Wrestling. It's amazing. It's definitely a place to be. But as of right now, if I'm being honest, not very many. I haven't been doing as much research as I probably should about the outside international
Well,
wrestling.
you say that, but keep in mind, again, you're about 2 years in, you're early 20s. If you're, I always say sometimes you got to crawl before you walk, and in situations like this, like getting your name out there locally and in your state, especially when you're in Texas, like, maybe my mindset and my mentality would be a little bit different if this was like fucking Nebraska or something like that, but Texas is a
Yeah.
hotbed. And and I think people may misunderstand that, like, when, as far as like not trying to get out there. But when you have fucking 100 companies, 160 companies, more than that, running in a 3-hour radius from where you're at, like, I mean, it's getting out there now. Whether or not they're reputable or not, it's a whole different conversation to have. But I'm just saying, companies in general, right? Like, there's a lot that you can do in that market. I personally, eventually, I think I'd like to see you get over to the UK. I think that the Brit strong style would be a nice little starting point to get you to Japan.
Yeah.
Because again, yeah, it's one of those things. You go to the UK, learn that style because that is a stronger style, and then you're more prepared for Japan, which is obviously, in my opinion, the strongest style.
The strongest style. Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. It would be fantastic to see. Um, let me ask you. Let me ask you this. So, as you're on this journey, what have been some of your highlights so far? Something that some stuff that's already kind of registered in your mind that it ain't going nowhere. This was one of these moments that was, kick ass. It could be a match. It could be, friendships that you've made, anything like that. What are some of your personal highlight moments?
Well, my first highlight moment, which I mean, this isn't in order, of course, because I think I was been wrestling for maybe a year before I graduated. I started pretty early,
Mhm.
like just traveling and stuff like that. But my graduation, number one on the list as of right now, because that's like the big stepping stone as to I am now a professional wrestler, which doesn't mean you're done training. It just means, hey, it's official. I'm stamped on my forehead. Boom, professional wrestler.
Mhm.
So definitely my graduation at Lons Pride at the Den was one of my biggest key points. And I want to go ahead and say my official debut at Lions Pride was against Hoshish Hirsch, and it was a job match. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but it was a match with me. Now I wasn't in a mask and some random generic shorts known as the trainee. It was Chris Chaos going in versus Hoshish Hirsch. You know what I mean? So that was my first match as my character to start getting eyes on me and get out there as much as possible. So that's something I like to sit down and remember. And it's another good one. Really, this is also going to be very biased and very like, oh, there's a big bubble. But every single match, because I have it dotted down on my phone, every single match outside of my home school, I have jot down. I have where it's at, the date, stuff like that. I love trying myself at new places. I love putting my face out there in new places and meeting new people. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think as of right now, I'm pretty happy with the way everything's been going. Of like making new friends, networking, getting out there, wrestling at new places. It's another little highlight of my career as of right now. Because mind you, my career is still very short.
Yeah, no,
Doesn't
you
feel
just
short,
said you're
but
just getting
yeah,
started.
just getting started. So
I tell these guys all the time,
me,
like the what I see, the beautiful thing about independent wrestling is where it's headed. Like it's
yeah,
in a really great spot now. I've never seen it here before. I've never seen this. This is over the last probably 4 years. It's been insane. But where it's going is even better because I've had the opportunity over the last 2 years since we've really dug into indie wrestling and really mainly over the last year or so to see so many young, talented guys and girls getting it in the ring right now from here in the States to overseas and et cetera, et cetera. And I say all that to say I'm talking kids as young as 14 or 15 years old. And I'm
yeah,
talking
we have
about
two
kids
13-year-olds.
in their early
Mhm.
20s.
Oh yeah,
And the beautiful thing about it is everyone that I'm seeing is so fucking talented and so good at what they do, whether it's in ring, whether it's on a microphone, whether it's psychology, et cetera, et cetera. The scary thing is as good as some of these guys are, some of these girls are, they're, again, in their early 20s. We'll say early 20s. 10 years from now, 5 years from now, they're going to be fucking great. And then 10 years from that's when you hit your prime. The thing about professional wrestling is back in my day, the prime of a professional wrestler was usually that 29 to 35, 36. Well, now as times have changed and, you're able to take care of your body a lot better, you're usually not hitting your prime until your mid 30s at this point. So I say all that to say if you're as good as you are now, picture where you'll be in 5 years, and then think about this. Oh fuck, I'm 10 years away from my prime. You know what I mean? That's why I say professional
yeah,
wrestling is in a really good spot everywhere because the
Mhm.
guys that are coming through are younger. They're taking care of themselves. It's not like back in my time where you just fucking went. And if you got hurt, you got hurt. You continued to go. You rubbed some dirt on it, or you went home for however long it was. Now you didn't have people looking out for you. You had to kind of look out for yourself, and make chicken salad out of chicken shit pretty much every week. I say all that to say professional wrestling is going to be thriving, and it's because of guys like you. You're out there. You're out there trying to make a difference. You're trying to make something of this, and you're not afraid to put in the work to get it done. And that's the thing that's a misconception by a lot of people who will sit and play armchair quarterback. They've never been there. They don't know what it takes. They don't know the sacrifices that you make. They don't know any of the time that you cut away from loved ones, friends, if you're married, your wife, if you have family, children, if you have pets and you're attached, your pets, like it's a grind. And I say all that to lead to this question because we've talked a lot about wrestling. We've talked a little bit about Batman and Robin and the Joker and Harley Quinn. Let me ask you this, though. Like, what do you do for you when you get a time to just kind of sit back and relax and, not have to worry about wrestling, not to worry about training? What makes you tick in that piece of your game? I know you like to. We talked a little bit earlier about some of the things you do, but what else makes you tick? What do you do to relax?
Would you consider like lifting weights relaxing, or I don't want to like be the big macho man, but
if that's what you do.
But yeah, no, I don't. Just me as a human being, I cannot stand to just sit still and not do anything. I used to be huge into video games, but as I've gotten older, I've realized like I'm just not loving video games as much as I used to. And even things like watching Netflix and stuff like that, I feel like I'm just wasting time. So if I'm like currently not booked, either I like to go out and apply my mind to do something to learn a new skill set or go work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
There's really not much downtime in my life as it is right now, just to sit there and just, I guess relax per se.
No, I mean I get that too. Welcome to my world, brother. Like there's I don't remember the last time I had an off day, dude, to be perfectly fair, now that I'm sitting here. Like I said, our platform started because someone said that that doing independent wrestling was a waste of time. And what started as a random watch along a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, has turned into something that is becoming more and more gratifying as each day passes. And a large part of it is because I get the opportunity to sit down and talk to guys like you that come in and get to learn about you and learn about your area, learn where what your plans are, where you're trying to go, and it's all great to see because it's truly going to lead to much bigger things down the line. And with these conversations, they're all organic. And I know that with a lot of the folks that we have come in, and even yourself included in this, I just scratch the surface, on what's really going on. I do it intentionally because I want you to come back. And if you have a great time, and usually they're more inclined to come back and sit down and talk with us and 6 months or so, and we figure out where you're at now, and we just continue to build longer term relationships over any kind of short term gain. And now that leads me to what I like to call like my $1 million questions. For me, they're $1 million questions, and I get a lot out of these. The first question I've got for you, and I ask everybody, is who should we be watching? And kind of what that question means is your perspective from guys that you work with, guys that you've watched. Who do you think some of those hidden gems are that need to get a little bit of spotlight put on them?
Well, I have two.
Okay.
And the first to start off with is me. But no, on a serious note, there's this one guy in Texas where I'm gonna actually give you two. There's one whose name is Danny O'Ryan.
Yep.
I'm sure you probably have heard of him.
I saw a fantastic
so talented
with him
so
and
good.
Stephen Wolf.
Yes, they are amazing. And the last time I worked with him was with Trent Mercer, and the dudes, you would think like somebody at his stature, like, oh, he's so athletic, he can tell me what I want to do. I'm just gonna sit there and listen and be the yes man. But he's actually like pretty humble and he's such an open human being and such a good dude. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's really fun. And the next guy I want to talk about is Prince Lee. Have you seen any Prince Lee with New Texas and stuff like that?
I have not yet. So
look him up, man. Look him up. He is also another good human being. He's taught me so much. He's given me so much advice. He's given me places where I should probably go out and try to stick my face in and, peek around the corner and be like, hey, what's going on, guys? But he's been nothing but good to me. He's a human being. I don't think there's been a single person who can talk down on him, like genuinely. And he's on top of that, he's such a good wrestler. Like his character development over the last 2 years has been insane, and I've been loving to watch it. Been watching every single moment of it. He's
Okay.
also one of the guys who trained at the Den and started to branch out a little bit more, but
It's good to
he's
see
really
that there's
good.
some folks branching out and
Oh
bringing a
yeah,
little bit more little notoriety to what you guys have going on down there. Because that's only going to be a positive. And the reason why I asked that question, by the way, is because like you know, I do have heard of Orion. He's already on my sheet, but your other cat is not, and I have not heard of him before. So what'll happen is he makes my internal spreadsheets, and at some point in time, we're going to do a show on him, and we're going to watch his stuff. Same way we'll do a spotlight show on you down the line. We're going to watch your stuff, and see what's going on, because without you guys being out there in the ring and giving us recommendations from people that maybe we're not familiar with, we would not know. And the real reason, the other reason why that question's asked is because you don't just give me that guy. You're giving me opponents that he's in the ring with that I may not have seen before. And we're a first watch channel, so I love first time watches. And you're giving me other companies, because not everybody is tied to one place or another. They work multiple places, and there's a lot of independent companies that I haven't heard of before. And when we stumble across those, add those to sheets, we find out what's going on, and we do shows on them. It's how we continue our revolving door of what we're doing on our channel. It's kind of the secret sauce, is because you guys know better than anybody else who should we be watching and why we should be watching them too. So it's fantastic to get your recommendations. For this question, though, this is the money question, and it's your answer. You can answer however you want to answer it. You have any dream matches that you want to get out there? Anything that you want to manifest match wise with anybody out on the independent scene? If you could get in the ring with them, who would they be?
I haven't been putting too much thought into this like I probably should have. Well, going based off of the top of my head, there is, of course, Jack Calloway. I would love to run a singles bout with him.
Okay.
He's on fire right now. Dude's everywhere. And everywhere he goes, he seems to elevate to be the top guy. But it's just in where we came in, as he was starting to pop off and like go out to different places, I was still training how to learn to do a Hell takeover. So he's it's just one of those things where I'm trying to intertwine our paths and get it done. You know what I mean? Just to have a good match with him, see how our chemistry is. I'm pretty sure it'll be really good. But he's another one of those guys who's helped me out a lot and given me a lot of advice. And yeah, no, Jack Cal is definitely one person that I want to try to scrabble with. And if we want to be a little bit more, I want to say unrealistic, but something that takes a little bit more manifesting is, I want to say Joe Hendry, man.
Say his
Joe
name
Hendry.
and he appears.
He appears.
Yeah.
Nah, they didn't work. Yeah, but
not this time.
Yeah, no, Joe Hendry. Not this. Maybe next time. But Joe Hendry, yeah, no, he's definitely one of those guys over the last few years. Like I've been on him for a while, and of course he's been popping off with the new theme song and the look and the turnaround. It's like it's beautiful. And he's one of those guys who I just want to pick his brain. Like I want to pick it so much he may find me a little bit annoying. I'm sorry if that's the case, but I just want to pick his brain. Everything he's doing right now is right, and I want to figure out what I need to do to get in that same spot. But yeah, I just really want to run that match with him.
I don't think that's an unrealistic expectation or an unrealistic dream match, because Hendry still makes independent shots. I really, really enjoyed his rise. I think TNA waited too late to put the belt on him.
Almost definitely.
That's where I think that went wrong. Now he's on chase mode again, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that he's tremendous. I think that he, as far as the social media game, guys got it down lock. He's like Cardona to me. He's like a second coming of Cardona, if you will. It's great to see. And I say that because I'm gonna clip that shit and I'm gonna put it out there and I'm gonna tag him and we're gonna see what we can do. Like that's how we operate on this channel, man. This has been a great fucking conversation, dude. I really enjoyed being able to sit down and just chat with you over this last hour or so. And like I said, I know that we just really scratched the surface with some of these conversations, because again, I want you to come back. I want you to be able to sit down and let's catch up and see where you go next, because the beautiful thing is you're just getting started. You're just scratching the surface. There's going to be a lot more Chris Chaos over the next couple of years, and I want us to be a part of that journey with you, so that we can say, we were there and we watched this thing from the inception all the way up to this point, and where you're going to be going next. I think that your mentality for what you're trying to do is fucking fantastic. I think that
Thank you.
you're really well spoken and you're really well put together, and that's a large piece of the game, whether people want to admit it or not. It is, and you've got that nailed down too. I don't think that it's a matter if, I think it's a matter of when. And the beautiful thing about professional wrestling is that you don't ever know when that door's going to knock. Somebody's going to knock at it. You just got to be ready for it when they do. And what I've heard over the course of this conversation is that you will be ready for it. You're stay. I asked you what you do
Thank
in
you
your
so
free
much.
time. It's lifting weights. Is that like that's exactly you? That's the answer that you know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
even in your time, you're figuring out what you need to do to level yourself up, and you're so young in the game. It's really fucking good to see. I always turn the floor over to you guys on the way out. Is there anything that you want to plug, anything you want to talk about, anything that you want to throw out into the universe? Now is your opportunity. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, no, really, I don't really have much to say. All I gotta say is just, the socials are down low. I also have a Twitter, but just really, just come tune in to me. DM me if you have any opportunities. I have an email, but even if you want me to come out there and swing by and just help out, I'm willing to do it. But yeah, no, my name's Chris Chaos, and 2 years into the game, and I'm just getting started, baby.
Damn right. And it's super simple. As he said, it's right there on the screen. It's _Chris_chaos over on Instagram. What is that X handle? I'm on X, but I don't really use it. But what is it? And I'll get it in the video description so that those who do use the X platform can get you on that.
Yeah, no, it's the same handle as Instagram.
Oh,
I think I prefer to it as Twitter. My bad.
keeps it fucking simple.
But yeah, no.
Love it. Even with the underscores. They use
Yep.
that when I do peel behind the curtain. When I do graphics and I do the name graphics, I put the social media plugs out there, and I always roll my eyes when I have to add two. I have to add two different tags. It's so much easier to add one name and two pictures than two pictures and two names. It's just like, come on,
Yeah.
guys, keep it
I
simple.
mean, unless somebody stalking me and knows like what I want to do future plans, man. Yeah, that username is usually open. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Facts. I love it. And you can also, if you're interested in booking Chaos, hit him up. It's right there on the screen too. Book chrischaos@gmail.com. It's where you can find him, get information. And definitely this is somebody you want to keep your eyes on. I appreciate you coming in and chatting with me for a little bit
Thank
this
you.
afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait to have you back. Our door's always open. That's for damn sure. We hope you guys have had a fun time in chat. Goth, I see we had a lot of people just kind of coming and popping in, popping out. Nobody was really vocal today. Appreciate y'all nonetheless. For Mr. Chris Chaos, for myself, Chris Page, we will see you next time.